Acknowledges. Welcome to all. Thank you so much for your presence out here. 3 years ago, almost exactly, my wife and I, we came to Colombia and we were told that this is one of the most important postings of our career. I believe it now, 3 years later, because not only have we been received so well by all of you, the Colombians and the Indians here, we've also been extremely well treated by the government, which has chosen to celebrate 50 years of the bilateral relationship between India and Colombia in a very special way. Exactly a year ago, or almost exactly a year ago, January 19th, 2009, the foreign minister gave me the single honor of hosting the embassy at the Foreign Office to kick off the 50-year celebration. And we signed the ratification of the Agreement on Science and Technology on that occasion. I realized then that with Colombia taking the 50 years so seriously, we had to do something. And the year has been studied, thanks largely to the contributions we've received from the Ministry of External Affairs, and last but not the least, contributions from all of you here. We have had a Festival of India. We participated as a guest of honor in the Film Festival of Bogotá, which was a singular success, apart from the fact that Slumdog Millionaire had been released just a few weeks before. Nevertheless, Tare Zameen Par, I think, almost certainly got more applause at the show that I attended. We've also had signing of several agreements. The Foreign Minister Bermudez of Colombia was there with the Commerce and Industry Minister just 3 months ago, and they signed an investment protection and promotion agreement. We've had several other visits that have taken place at official level, and we've had a series of activities also, cultural, political, economic, business delegations, and so on. Proof of some of that is here today among you. I'd like to thank particularly the Chamber of Commerce of India. I'd like to also thank, on behalf of the Embassy of India, the Chamber of Commerce, incidentally, has been working for a little over a year, and I think there's been a band of dedicated businessmen who we thank sincerely. Of course, the fact is that these businessmen, the Colombian businessmen, have been helping exports out of India, which I think the Colombian government very graciously admits is not a bad thing, because products from India that have been coming here, cars, motor vehicles, and so on, have been highly appreciated. And I see among us Carlos, my good friend from Auteco, who's managed to popularize the Pulsar Bajaj bike. I think we have in our midst Fanalka, which is importing Hero Honda, and very soon we'll start importing Tata vehicles. We have pharmaceutical companies among you, and so on. Chamber of Commerce has managed to get all of you together, and we're going to commemorate tonight, especially your contributions. But more significant is the arrival of Dr. Shashi Tharoor, our Minister of State for External Affairs, who, apart from having been a friend in the past, is also someone we've all admired. I think if I were to take a vote of hand, which I don't want to embarrass the Minister about, I'd find that more of us would know him or have known about him than not. And since you all know about him, I'm not going to go into a deep introduction. Suffice to say that he is here representing India as a valedictory visit to close the 50th year celebration and hopefully to kick off another successful years of relations between our two countries. Another significant event which we are going to celebrate tonight, and thanks to the Minister, we've managed to get it all together, is the launching of the Association of Friends of India, for which we have to thank particularly Christian Salamanca and his colleagues, his wife, his Indian wife, and all of you who I'm sure are going to fork out that 120,000 pesos for the annual subscription. I want to see all of you affiliados so that we can form a solid base for this association. And just to prove to you that we are as sincere as you are, or even more, I'm going to ask the Minister to hand over to Christian the donation from the Government of India of a fairly significant amount for us. And we hope that this association gets going very quickly and takes over from the embassy the charge of representing India culturally out here and socially. Without more ado, I should like to invite Dr. Shashi Tharoor to please come up and say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Deepak. And it's delightful to see you all here this evening. I have to apologize that Spanish is not one of my languages, and so I'm going to address you all in the language the colonialists left behind in my country. But I believe it's well understood in Colombia, and certainly all of you are friends of this embassy. And I'm sure that for you, you're not entirely surprised to have an Indian minister speaking to you in English. As Ambassador Bhojwani has pointed out, This is a very special occasion for India and for me personally. It's my first visit to Latin America as Minister of State for External Affairs, and Colombia is the first country that I'm visiting in Latin America. So it is for me a great honor to set foot in Bogotá on the occasion of the culmination of the celebrations of the 50th anniversary of India's diplomatic engagement with Colombia. And for us, this is a relationship that has been going from strength to strength. I'm sure that many of you will accept that in the early days, it was more of a routine diplomatic engagement, but in recent years, it has become infused with a great deal of content. Business content, which is extremely important. I'm told that the amount of Indian investment in Colombia is now nearing $1 billion US, which is a colossal amount of money. And no one would have imagined that even 10 years ago. And I think the sky's the limit. We can only imagine further increases in that. We've also had cultural content. Again, Ambassador Bojwani has given you a couple of examples. But again, the knowledge of incredible India here in Colombia must increase. And today I was very pleased, just before coming here, to launch a book on perspectives on Indian-Colombian relations, authored by some Indians and in fact more Colombian authors in Spanish, available from the embassy. So I hope you would all read it, because it has some very well-researched and well-argued articles about aspects of India for a Colombian readership. And at the same time, there is certainly the deepening political and diplomatic content of our relationship. We have signed a few agreements. I had the great pleasure of hosting Foreign Minister Jaime Bermudez in New Delhi just a couple of months ago, and I'm delighted to be already paying a return visit. And certainly, though we have a couple of agreements to sign when we meet tomorrow, there are more agreements in the pipeline, more homework going on between the countries, and I'm sure you will see an increasing evidence of collaboration on the political side as well. So business, diplomatic, cultural, all of these are just the beginning, and we certainly want to see a very close and intense relationship in the years to come. So I don't want to bore you with a long speech, but particularly for the expatriate Indians here, let me just briefly say that India is going through a very exciting phase in its growth and development. You know that I'm new to politics. This was not my profession before. I was elected in May, and when I went and sat for the first time in the Central Hall of Parliament, along with all the other newly elected Congress Party MPs, we were addressed by our Prime Minister, Dr. Manmohan Singh. And he said many things about the future and what we're working towards. And one thing he said has always stayed with me, and my staff are tired of hearing me repeat it, but I will repeat it anyway. He said, you know, we must be very conscious of all the support we have received from young people in this election. And he said, let us never forget to respect the impatience of the young. Now, coming from a 77-year-old Prime Minister, that was a wonderful thought. The impatience of the young is what India is all about today. And that's why when this government started, apart from our usual 5-year plans, many ministries have 100-day plans to kickstart a lot of new activities taking place in our country, in everything from road building to infrastructure development, tourism, you name it. We're trying to move up, and education policy is being transformed. We are trying in many ways to make India a place that not only will be better than what it has been in the past, but will be worthy of the aspirations of our growing young population. And there's also a good political reason to do that, because in each of the next 5 years, 20 million young Indians will turn 18 and become eligible to vote. So there'll be 100 million young voters before the next election, and we better convince them that our government is there to make their tomorrow better than their parents' yesterday. And believe me, we're determined to do that. So it's an exciting time. I hope you will all come to India. Those of you who belong there must come back more often. Those of you who have not visited, we hope you will, as friends of India, show up and partake of this adventure yourself. And apart from that, let me also endorse Ambassador Bojwani's appeal that the new Colombian-Indian Friendship Society should be given your blessings, your active support and contributions, so that this partnership can find its roots in the civil society of Bogotá. With those words, let me thank you all once again for A warm welcome. Good to see you all. Let's enjoy the evening. Jai Hind. Contribution from the government to the Friendship Society. As you can see, he's dressed as Indian should be, and I'm dressed as a Colombian.